morning. I'm Mayor Tommy Roberts. Welcome back to the Mayor's Table. My guest again this morning is City Manager Rob Mays. Rob, this morning I want to talk about a project that we're excited about here at the City of Farmington. It involves the renovation of the Farmington Civic Center, which is a 40-year-old facility that is in much need of renovation and upgrade. And actually the proposed project includes an expansion of exhibition space to the tune of about 5,500 square feet. But we've been talking about this for some time. We had a Mayor's Table segment on the project and the source of the funding for this project, and I want to revisit that as well so that we keep our viewers current on the project and to refresh memories about how this project is going to be funded. But about 3 weeks ago, the City Council was presented by our consultants a final conceptual design, and as a result of that, the City Council advised staff that they wanted the project to move forward. So I want to talk about what the next steps are.
Yeah. Well, if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to back up a little bit first, because the action the council took 3 weeks ago in approving the final conceptual plan and then moving that now into the true blueprint bid document phase really goes back over 2 years ago. There's over 2 years of due diligence that staff and the City Council and stakeholders in the community have embarked on. It began back in October 2014, where we presented what we would call it was a market analysis as well as a facilities assessment. So we started with verifying what is the conditions and needs of the Civic Center. You mentioned it's old and was badly in need. We weren't ADA compliant. We weren't compliant in fire suppression. We didn't have the power we needed. We didn't have all the kinds of things we need to have a modern Civic Center. We also studied the market. What kind of programs and what kinds of acts can we bring here and events that would be successful, and what do we need to build in order to allow us to advance and bring more people to Farmington, ultimately to fill hotels and restaurants and invest in our downtown and economic development. So it started there. Then it moved forward to then what do we need to build? How would we pay for it? And that's kind of the main focus today, is that convention center financing fee.
And so now we're moving forward with the project, and we'll get these more detailed design templates in front of us. And but the project is on go.
Yeah.
And we're moving forward. Let's talk about the funding mechanism. And I'm finding that as this story and this project gains a little bit more notoriety, that one of the concerns that I hear being expressed is, given the somewhat difficult economic times that we're dealing with, how can the City of Farmington afford to do an $11.5 million renovation and expansion of the Civic Center? Well, let's describe to the viewers how we can do that.
Well, it would be very clear that this is not coming from the general fund or from funds that can be used for anything else that the city has. The state legislature created a funding mechanism for civic centers and convention centers by allowing what is essentially a $2.50 nightly fee that's kind of tacked on to the lodger's tax. So the only revenue that's being spent on this project is being generated from a $2.50 fee paid by those that come and stay in our hotels. And the logic behind that is you build a convention center or a civic center, and it becomes an impetus for more tourism and more people to come and stay in our hotels. And as you know, we continue to see good occupancy, and we continue to see hotels built. This is a mechanism to add one more positive element that will help keep those hotels full and ultimately benefit the hotel and lodgers tax community.
So this project, this $11.5 million project, is being 100% funded by people who are coming from outside our community to our community and who are staying in our hotels and motels.
That's exactly right.
Then when we talk about the point in time when we have the project completed, operational, we're going to be talking about some incremental operating costs if we compare the new facility to the facility as it currently exists. Talk about the source of monies to fund the operations, that the incremental operations.
Yes. Well, the state legislature act allows for this fee to be spent on the construction and the operation of civic or convention centers. So what we've done, the financing plan is we are borrowing $11.5 million against pledging that revenue that comes in. So currently that revenue is generating between $850,000 and $900,000 a year. Now, because times are tight, and because we are seeing a potential downturn in our economy, or an actual downturn, we're going to be very conservative. We are only borrowing and pledging $712,000. And that'll go, and that's a fixed payment for the next 25 years to pay for the expansion and complete renovation of this facility. And maybe we'll talk a little bit more about what all that entails. That leaves right now a safety margin or a surplus of about $140,000 a year that will go into that fund, and it can only be spent on the Civic Center. And so that gives us both a margin of potentially covering any added operational costs, but also a nice safety margin in case revenues would dip. It gives us a good reserve to be sure we can adequately fund the debt payment.
I think it's important to point out to our viewers that this legislative tool that we've taken advantage of is one that we lobbied for fairly actively. There was a statute on the books that allowed the city of Las Cruces to do this very sort of thing, but it was a unique statute in that it was focused on only one municipality in the state. Well, other municipalities saw the benefit of this kind of legislation and thought that it ought to be extended across the board to all municipalities in the state. And so it's something we lobbied for, it's something we got, it's now something we're taking advantage of, and it's something that's going to benefit our community, and I think going to be fully paid for by outside money coming into our community. It couldn't be any better scenario for our taxpayers and our citizens. Let's talk briefly about what the project is. What are going to be the changes to this existing facility that are going to be beneficial to our community?
Well, and you're going to see some pictures on the screen right now that kind of give you artists' renditions of what's going. It's really a very beautiful project, but it's both a expansion of the footprint as well as renovation. And that goes back to that feasibility and building assessment that we did back in 2014. Unfortunately, a lot of things that are going to be done are invisible. New roof, all new heating and air conditioning units, lots of new plumbing, new wiring, adding technology, new ADA compliant bathrooms, adding an elevator. So there's all kinds of things that are necessary to bring the building up to code and to make it functional. The kitchen area will be remodeled. We have all new floors, new ceilings, new walls. Virtually everything that you see inside that building will be renovated and remodeled, and then we'll extend on the north end of the building about a 5,500 square foot addition to our exhibit hall, because our market studies showed that the most important thing we needed in order to attract the next size up conference and convention was more exhibit space. And so that's exactly what we built. And I think I already mentioned the kitchen. We've got a beautiful, formal banquet hall ballroom there, and we need better equipment and better kitchen for the caterers to be able to serve hot meals and high quality meals. So,
and then we'll have some exterior changes as well that I think are going to be much appreciated by the people who patronize the Civic Center. We're going to create some relief on the exterior that gives the building a bit of depth, and not just so much vertical field of vision that you have currently. So there'll be some breaks, and with the use of trellises and that sort of feature to make there be a change in the outside facade of the facility. And then we're going to have a very extensive courtyard system and common grounds area that will accommodate up to 3,000 people for outdoor concerts and special events, and that's something I'm very excited about.
It's really an outdoor event center, pavilion. A lot of the money's been invested in infrastructure out there, wiring for electricity, and food carts, and sound systems, and lighting, and and all the things that are necessary to truly hold spectacular events out there of all kinds.
And certainly we hope that this renovated and expanded facility will generate some additional economic activity for our city. And that's another reason why I think it's a wise move to make. Frankly, we probably wouldn't be able to do this if we were relying on our current tax base
That's right.
to do it. It's only because we're able to use outside monies coming into our community to fund this project that we're doing it in the first place. But an ancillary benefit is certainly the potential economic boost that it will generate, and it's at a much needed time.
Yeah, it is absolutely. It's a huge investment into our downtown and our metropolitan redevelopment area. If you go down there right now, you already see changes. The old Daily Times building and two other buildings have been torn down. From Main Street now, you have a very nice view of the Civic Center. So in a way, it kind of connects the Civic Center to the heart of our downtown. So there's no question this is designed to be a major investment into our commitment to renovate downtown.
As a final note, I want to point out that this renovation expansion project is consistent with the goals of our Metropolitan Redevelopment Plan that was adopted by the City Council in 2009. The plan called for the renovation, expansion of the existing Civic Center facility. In the longer term time frame, the plan calls for a study about a new convention center or civic center located in the downtown area. But again, that plan discussed that option in the long range, and in the nearer term talked about the expansion and renovation of the existing facility. So Rob, I want to thank you for being with me again today as a guest on the Mayor's Table. Again, this is a project that in a sense is a no-brainer for our community. It has little, if any, fiscal impact on our taxpayers other than positive in nature, and but it doesn't amount to a burden on our taxpayer base. It's money coming in from outside the community to better our community. I want to thank all of you for viewing this segment of the Mayor's Table. We hope that you've learned something about this project that is useful to you. We will look forward again to seeing you next Monday.